have our honored guest, Mei Wang from Palo Alto IoT. She's the CTO, and she was also an ex-founder who built ZingBox until exit. And we also have Stu Mitchell, founder and CEO of Hamilton North, who's the most trusted search firm for all the AI top-tier labs, enterprise, and VC. So we're going to talk about people who has been carrying this weight on their shoulder, and they will continue carrying this weight moving forward. My first question is going to be probably touching a lot of people, what they're thinking. Stu and Mei, what are the single most misunderstood and loneliest moment you've been through and you've seen from a cyber executive perspective?
So I'll go first, and I think there's two. As a security executive search firm, I'm a therapist to a lot of security leaders, especially after the bad days, and to me there's two, right? It's the incident, I think, is the obvious one. You are thrust into a very challenging situation, and I think that's an easy place to go. But I actually think the second is the most interesting, and it's when you fix everything. It's when you've hired the great team. It's when you have everything is automated, things look great, and you look around and you're like, what am I doing here? And I think it's one of the most interesting moments. We normally go into a chaos storm when we take an executive role, and the job is to make it easy and to hire a team and have a succession plan. And then when you build that, you're like, I don't know why I'm here anymore. And I think it's a really interesting moment for those folks who have done the to-do list is done. And I think particularly those folks who are builders, those folks who like to go in and fix things, when everything's fixed, they don't know what to do with themselves. And that's where they get very, very lonely. So I think it's an when you've actually finished your job, it becomes really weird. And I think a lot of people have it's the US, right? Like we have so much identity and who we are as what we do. And when the job is done, we don't know what to do with ourselves. I think it's such a fascinating moment. And that's when they call people like me and they're like, hey Stu, it's time. I've either got to leave, found a company, whatever it's going to be. And it's normally because they've done a very good job.
I think first it's when you walk on RSA, almost every single company is talking about the same thing every year. So the same story, how do you distinguish yourself? How do you make sure your next product, next feature is going to be unique? That's first. And secondly, how do you make sure you deliver quality products?
Would you say this is not a very appreciated job in the industry, because when you are doing job great, no one is thankful, but everything goes down, you're the one to blame. Would you agree on that?
Yeah,
yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
You have a legendary background from all the way building ZingBox to become the CTO of Palo Alto IoT. What is one thing you learned from all the grind from founder's perspective that still applies today in your leadership role in such a big company?
So before I co-founded ZingBox, I was working at Cisco, and so ZingBox was my first startup. And so before I started my own company, I was really encouraging all my friends around me, get out of your comfort zone, you're in Silicon Valley, start a company. And after co-founding ZingBox and then sold to Palo Alto, I was like, whoever you hate the most, encourage him to start a company. Because it's very, very hard, very brutal, and also I think you need technology, you need to go to market, you need the product market fit, you also need lots of luck as well. I think one lesson I learned from that is no matter how powerful AI is, eventually it's still about human beings. It's about how you build trust, how you get connected, how you build trust from your investors to your customers, to your employees, to your partners, and all of that.
Still, this question might make everyone hate you here. So when people come to you asking, hey, I want to become a founder, I want to join Cloud, Anthropic, OpenAI, all the frontier labs, what would be the one suggestion you say to them and harsh reality that they did not realize?
Yeah, so I think it's pretty well known that OpenAI, Anthropic, they hire the top 1% of people, and the harsh reality is 99% of people are not in the 1%, and I think we have this some people have an inflated view of who they are and how good they are. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go get in the big leagues, and maybe I'm not that guy, I'm not that girl. And it is, no one wants to be rejected. Like, rejection sucks. And I think sometimes, like, you can get a little bit ahead of your skis and think, hey, they should hire me. I can do exactly what they need. But guess what? Everyone's in line, right? So you're not just competing with the 5 guys in your town. It is the best people in the industry who have been founders, who have worked for Google, who have worked for Netflix, who have done amazing things, or sometimes like very interesting places. But I say it to a lot of people, 99% people are not in the top 1%. And it is a real thing. And look, the compensation packages are amazing. The work is hard. And it is just, no one wants to get rejected, but it happens. And then with a founder, like, I think the founder life is romanticized, right? It seems really cool to found a company and get VC funding, and it's fucking hard. Like, it is a lot of stress. And the problem is the CEO job, and I do it at a very different scale, but like, most of your job is letting everyone else be the hero while you go and fix things. It is not that fun. And so I think everyone romanticizes about it. They want to be the next announcement on LinkedIn, but like, it's a lifestyle. It is a lot of putting fires out. And like, do you really want that? Or do you just want to be able to post it on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok and tell the world that you founded a company? You got to give away a big portion of your life.
And on the other spectrum of the question for May, as a hiring manager from founder time to current executive time, how do you compete with the top 1% talent who receive 7-figure offers from 3 different companies, and you still convince them to join?
It is very hard, but I think people who do want to work at startup, they are different kinds of people. Usually they have the drive, they want to do something very interesting, very unique. So I think the first group of people we hire usually come from our friend and family circle. And actually, after we got acquired by Palo Alto Networks. So Palo Alto is the largest cybersecurity company and been around for 20 years and went IPO years ago. I actually interviewed many of their very original people, like, oh, how did you get to Palo Alto at such an early startup stage when they had nothing? And almost every single one of them I talked to was because, my cousin went there, my colleague went there, my classmate went there, just brought me over there. That's why I think all this networking and relationship and people trust is very important. So we got our core team mainly from that way first, and then expanded to leveraging recruiters and try to recruit people that really resonate with our mission and really fit into the culture.
I just want to add something to that as well. There's a great book, Uncanny Valley. I don't know if anyone's read it. I think it's loosely based on GitHub. And it's the early days, and they're sat in a room, and they're like, who are the 5 smartest people you know? And they reel off a list of like people who have gone to investment banks or consulting or whatever. Why don't they work here? And I think in startup time, like, you need to create a company that is attractive so that the 5 smart people that you went to college with or high school with, like, why are they not here? And I think if you can build a startup that is attractive enough, and look, it might not be compensation, but you build an environment where people can do great things and create a legacy, I think it's such a wonderful thing. And we were just speaking about this, like, the people you bring to your business will define the entire thing, particularly early on, right? Those first 10, 25, 50 hires, that's how you get Palo Alto Networks to go public. It will all be about those early people. Obviously, it gets more challenging as you grow, but without good people, even with AI, right? Like, I know everyone's like, hey, we'll vibe code everything. If you don't have great people, it's just not gonna happen.
To summarize, family business is still very important. So if you have kids who plan to drop out from Berkeley and Stanford, stop them. And if they do, we're hiring interns. Thank you. This next question, I think, apply to you both as well. I think we have a lot of leadership in the room today. So to build a legacy that will surpass their current title, whether it's a CTO or VP of engineering or CISO, CIO, what can they do or what direction they should follow to build a legacy that surpasses their time?
So this will be interesting, but you've got to be pretty selfish. I know it's a strange thing to say, but if you are not right now, I spoke to a couple of people in this room. It's a weird, great year to be unemployed if you have the luxury to do that, because there's this amazing opportunity to be the very best at what you do within some of the technologies that improve every 4 months right now, I think is the cadence. So if you can get great at modern technology, you actually have the opportunity to be better than people who are working 60, 70 hour weeks. Because how many busy security leaders get 40 hours to play around with Claude and OpenClaw, whatever? No, they have a day job. So you actually have this weird opportunity to get ahead. But you need to be quite selfish, right? Like I think we give, as people, we give so much to the organizations that we work for. And are you doing that at the detriment of your career? And I think at times right now, like those 70-hour weeks that you're giving to a FANG company or whoever it may be, but you're actually not getting any better at what you do, and the 20-year-old dropout from Berkeley might take the CISO gig in 5 years, which is insane to say, but I think the modern security leader in 5 years is not going to look like what they look like today. So you've got to get real selfish, block time to get better at what you do, and create safe spaces for innovation within your teams too. I think that's where the legacy is.
For me, I think there are two things. If you decide to stay in a big company, public company, from my observation is, and also I was at Cisco and then started my own company at Palo Alto Networks, I feel during my career path, whenever I have advancement, most of the time it was stagnant. And whenever there was advancement, because I had this guardian angel, advocate, sponsor, mentor, whatever you call that, lifted me up. So I think that's very important. I feel regretted that I didn't really proactively reach out to these people who are kind enough and capable enough to lift me up. And I also saw lots of people around me who are doing extremely well. I think, of course, they are smart, they work hard, but most important thing, almost every single one of them, because there was somebody appreciated them, gave them opportunity, gave them the recognition. And when I was young, I was always taught, okay, you work hard, you're smart, and then you deliver, and then you get reward, you get promotion. But now I feel it's the opposite. Many people I saw was because, there's a top leader, saw this person, decided, wanted to, he has talent, he has the trust, wanted to move him up. And then he got the best project, and then he got all the credibility, then he moved up. So it's the opposite. And then on the other side, if you want to do startups, after we got acquired by Palo Alto Networks, so you might know that Palo Alto acquired quite a few companies, and many of them have more zeros than we do than they acquired Zingbox. So I actually put on my thick skin. I reach out to all these CEOs that are acquired by Palo Alto, who was doing really, really well, to ask them, okay, how did you build your startup from zero and to such a big scale and got acquired by Palo Alto? And then as a data person, of course they all say different things, they work in different areas, but as a data person, I was trying to find a pattern. And there was one common thing I saw across the board of all these startups. That was all these CEOs were telling me, okay, instead of we created this technology, we built out the product, and we look for customer, they all went the other way around. Now I think about it, for both big company and startups, and they're all the other way around from what I've been doing. So they actually, multiple CEOs were saying, before we even decided what to build, I talked to 30, 40 customers. And then they all were telling me something. And then we came back and tried to figure out how to build it. There was one CEO was even saying, amazing CEO, originally we were going to build EDR. And then we heard this thing called container, and we had no idea what container was, but all customers were asking for it. And then I asked the VC, shall I do EDR that we know exactly what to do, and we had all these plans, how to make it better, or shall we do this thing, something called container? The VC, do the container. And then within 3 years, they sold for like almost $600 million. So then the lesson learned for me is like, for big companies, find your God, your advocate, whoever that is, and then build up relationship, build up network, and then you work hard, and then you get somewhere. And for startups, also the other way around, talk to customers before you build something. That's it.
Very nice. Like, make sure like your boss's LinkedIn post and like your customer's LinkedIn post. Have two one-word answer questions. Don't think too much, just respond instantaneously. Work and life balance, as a founder or as an executive, which is better? Stuart.
Founder.
Interesting. Okay.
What are you talking about? Work is my life. That's how we do work-life balance.
Thank you
Myth.
very much. So if you're going to start from scratch and building a new startup in this age, what is the first role you're going to hire? Stu?
I'd go to sales. Like, I think like there are so many great products that are over-engineered that it is a wonderful project. Especially if you're a technical founder, sales is hard. Sales is really, really hard. And there are some really crappy products that make billions of dollars. So if you create a great revenue engine, you'll be all right. And you can actually make a product better on the way if you have money. So for me, it's always like get someone who can sell, particularly if you're not, there's some CEOs that are wonderful at selling, and that's a very rare skill set, I think, when you find that blend. But if you can create a revenue engine and improve your product on the way, particularly with design partners, customers who you work with, that's the way I would look at it. Because again, you can spend so long building a product, if you can't get it out the door, I don't think it plays.
I would hire a very smart technical person who can sell. And even more important, this person must be a super lucky person. That's very important to me. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. And if you have any follow-up questions, you know where to find these two.
Thank you.